Terry, I'm not sure that 3-0 is a fair reflection of the majority of what we saw tonight.
No, I think first half it was even Stevens. I think it was quite a tight game. We created a couple of little sort of half chances, so did they. I think Scott pulled a great save off from the free kick. But then second half we come out and we got caught cold. I think they came out the traps flying second half, and when they got that goal and then they scored right again after that, we was at 6s and 7s for about 5-10 minutes, but then we sort of gathered ourselves, we regrouped, we started switching the play, and then at 2-0 it's you know, it's trying to be sort of kind to us as a team, but that was a clear-cut chance on the far stick.
Yeah.
And Hates was clinical on Saturday for us to get the win, and tonight it just goes against us again. I felt at that time if you get back to 2-1 it makes a little bit of a grandstand finish, but we didn't take that and we haven't been clinical enough. It's been like the story of our season so far, so really disappointed. We created sort of 3 really good chances in the second half that we didn't take, and if you take 1 or 2 of them you can sort of come away and be a little bit more happier, but you know, they were too powerful for us in that first little spell, and then the game was comfortable, I would say, the last sort of 10-15 minutes, and it was just, we got sort of caught again, and it just shows that when we make mistakes the teams at the top punish you, and then when they make mistakes and we get into good positions we've not punished them, and I said that was a difference tonight. But the work rate, the commitment, the energy and the willingness to give their all for me, you can see is there. But we've got to dust this one off now and make sure that we go into the weekend's game confident and ready to go again.
Yeah, it must be quite frustrating on the sidelines, because it is those small margins, isn't it? That they took the chances that they'd managed to create, and you had some really good ones after those 2 goals went in, but it just didn't seem like it was happening for you tonight in front of goal.
No, and I think you could see that sort of quality. I had 2 boys that scored against me tonight when they were young whippersnappers and gave them, I wouldn't say their debuts, but was as close to that. I think Kieran was his debut for me. Luke had already had his, Luke Freeman had already had his debut at Gillingham, but it has been the story as well of our ex-players coming back to haunt us. But you could see from their first spells with me to where they are now, they're a hell of a lot more clinical. They've had money paid for them now, and they've gone on to do really well. So you can't really sort of begrudge lads like that, but when it comes up against you, it's doubly gutting.
That's gratitude for you, eh?
Yeah, well, I've seen all of them after the game, and they've all come up. And Luke Ayling said some nice stuff in the programme before, so been part of these people's development along the way. But we've got a job to do here, and the belief is still there. We still feel that we can do it. Before the weekend, we was 6 points away. And now after this game tonight of playing a team that was going into the playoffs and a team that's top of the table, we're only 4 points off now. So we've made a little bit of a dent into that, and we've got to keep grafting and keep digging in and trying to get results. And
it is those goals, isn't it? I mean, when you look at that, your defensive record, it'll stand up with most in sort of middle of League One. It's just finding a way to get probably the couple of goals a game that you're going to need to get yourself where you want to be. Yeah,
I mean, listen, we'd have needed 3 goals tonight to get that, and so to get a draw, and that would have been too much for us against top of the table anyway. And sometimes you've got to hold your hands up and say that on the night they were the stronger team, and we just dust ourselves down and we get on with it. And now we've got, you know, 2 games that's going to be coming up with teams that are just above us, and they're going to be more cup finals. And the good news is that I can actually say that Joe Edwards will, touch wood, will come through these next few days, and I'll be able to pick him, because he's only played 1 and a bit games for me so far in my managerial career, and to have your captain out for that sort of length of time is, with someone that's never ever been injured before, has been a bit of a kick in the you-know-whats. But he's back. Stephen Kingsley will be back as well, so we'll be able to go into this game a little bit stronger.
Yeah. Sam had to come off. Was that a bit precautionary? It looked like he was struggling with his leg.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was. His mobility seemed to go, and he wasn't getting about the pitch. So, yeah, it was just precautionary, and we've got to make sure we look after him, because he's been fantastic for us. And with the games that we've got coming up, we're, you know, I think it was we brought him off at 3-0, wasn't it, or 2-0?
2.
I think we brought him off at 2-0 because we knew that we've got to make sure that this lad's fit, because he's been fantastic since I've taken over.
Thanks for your time.
No problems.
What are the positives you can take from the game, Terry?
Just the clear-cut chances that we created. I thought the 3 chances that we did have were all ones that were worked on, and they opened them up. They wasn't through mistakes. So for us, it was positive that against the top of the table, that we did have chances to score goals. And on another day, we would have taken them. But quality's quality. You know, when you've got money to assemble a team, and you get the pick of the best kind of players around in League One, and then you manage them properly, like Steve Cottrell's done. He's done a fantastic job. Then that's what you get. And we're where we are for a reason, of not scoring goals, and they are because they have been scoring goals.
You stuck with 4-4-2 again today. Have you worked out your best formation? Is that it?
Yeah, well, it was more of a sort of 4-2-1-3 we tried to start with, because we didn't want their back three trying to get on the ball. So you've got to pick different formations for different games, and when you're trying to get goals, what you can't do is keep hitting your head round, or hitting yourself round the head with the same stick and picking the same formation that we had done for the majority of the season. That was why I first changed to the 3 at the back, and then had the 3 sort of left up there with a 2 and a 1, exactly like the way the Bristol City have been playing. But in certain games you've got certain personnel that you can pick, and with Joel Grant coming back to full fitness, now we can play with wingers, with Adam Morgan driving inside and getting them shots off. The players that we've had, we could play a little bit of a different way, and it worked for us on Saturday. Not so much tonight, but the formations are, when you've got a full squad and you've got your wingers back in playing, you can play with like a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2. So you know, the formations don't really matter. What does matter is about picking up results.
And one of those changes you just touched on then was moving Adam Morgan out to the right. What was the thinking there?
Well, the thinking was the same really as Saturday. He got us our first goal by driving inside on his left foot and hitting sort of like a great shot from 25-30 yards that the keeper tips on the post, and then the other winger then goes in and taps it in. And he's been a real live wire since coming back into the team, and long may that continue.
And how impressed have you been with Scott Loach? Because he's played really well since he came in.
Yeah, he has. He's a real good character to have around the place, and he couldn't do nothing for any of the goals tonight. He's already saved a penalty. He kicks well. He come and took crosses really well, and you know, for that period that we had where it was so frustrating of only having a goalkeeper with concussion, but the rules state that he's got to be out for 7 days, and we had a game that week, then it does force your hand. But glad to have got him in, and hope that he continues with the form that he has been showing us.